Art is a horrible waste of the imagination. Two wrongs don't make a right, but three lefts do. Never swallow your face. Death is the ultimate career move in an artist's life. I don't think I have any more. I can't think of anything. Art career, I started off basically as an expressionist when I was in kindergarten. You know, I had a lot of problems with paint, so I guess that was kind of my expressionist period. And then I kind of went into earthwork type of things. You know, that was kind of what was in back then. My parents preferred to refer to them as holes, but you know, I like to think of them as earthworks. And you know, then I moved on. I started making amateur movies and etc. Until I got to college, and at that point, I was looking for something that I could be totally original with. And my feeling towards painting at the time was that there's a billion people out there making paintings and trying to do something, you know, new with painting. And there was this other art form, which was a brand new art form, pretty much. I mean, it's only been around for 100 years, which is photography. So I felt that it had not been completely explored. And, you know, looking at all the photography I could find in all the books, I realized this was pretty much the case. So at that time, I started working on these trompe-l'oeil photos where I would, you know, like draw on cardboard cutouts, realistic people, and do perspective tricks and stuff. So it enabled me to early on establish like a total realm for myself that nobody else had entered into. So basically, a lot of the stuff I do, you know, with the pop art is a lot of the same stuff, the social manipulation, you know, that Madison Avenue would use to you know, sell you a product. The only difference between me and them is my product is the manipulation. Currently, I'm working on a series of paintings based on childhood drawings of my family. And my thoughts behind this are basically, I'm going into my second childhood. This is, you know, my time to really go back and quote, you know, find my roots. And so I've done all these big colorful drawings. Picasso said something, and I know I'm not going to get the quote exactly right, but he said you know, it took him like 17 years to learn to paint like Rembrandt, but it took him, you know, 70 years to learn to paint like a kid. And there's a kind of energy and a kind of way of dealing with things that, you know, an adult just cannot achieve. It's like I'm far too sophisticated to ever be a kid again. And when I look at these kids' drawings, there's this strange, you know, wild energy, and they draw things and they render things in ways that, you know, I could not even imagine rendering things. So this is kind of feeding something into my art now, that what happened in Texas wasn't always taken that. And when I came to New York, I started, there's a thing that people do here, and mostly high school kids do it, but it's kind of a way of making people aware, or you know, in your neighborhood, it's giving yourself like some kind of fame thing or status thing. And the thing they do is tag, and it's just like you make up a little thing for your name, and then you just do it really fast everywhere. And you know, the more ground you cover, the more quote known you are. And it's kind of a way for these poor disenfranchised type of people, you know, to have some kind of name and status, you know, in a world that's basically run by people in limousines and corporations that they have absolutely no access to. So I really like the idea of that. So I also came up with my own tag, and I wanted to come up with something that I could do. You know, of course, it's something that you have to do very fast, but I wasn't, you know, interested in writing my name. I thought maybe my tag would be more of some kind of message that, you know, would be positive. And what I came up with was these two amphibians, you know, embracing, and they become a heart. So it's kind of a symbol, like, of course, you know, a symbol of, you know, obviously of love, but also of evolution and evolution of thought, I was thinking, because, well, to me, an amphibian represents an evolution thing. They're born as basically a fish or a tadpole type of thing, and they actually go through a stage of the evolutionary process and become, you know, land creatures with legs and everything. So my little amphibians, sometimes they're just, you know, little teardrop fish type of things, and then, you know, sometimes they're full-fledged lizard-looking things. So that's something I played around with on the streets, and so that basically became my tag, and something, you know, later became my logo when I became, you know, more corporate.
in New York and other, like street level.
Okay. Well, the great thing about living in New York, well, I suppose there's a lot of great things about living in New York, but one of the great things about living in New York is the sense of lawlessness and, being an outlaw artist, being in a situation here where I would just go out and graffiti the streets and actually get caught by the police, and they would like stand and watch me finish it and go, "Wow, you're the guy that does that? That's cool." It's such a relief from the attitude down in Texas where, it's just like, we don't get it, we don't like you, you have long hair, So that was, very liberating for me. And the second thing that was very liberating for me here was everybody's an artist. It's not like when I was in Texas, it was kind of, most of the time you explain to people why you're an artist and what the point is. And it's just, you're kind of an anomaly down there. But here, everybody and their brother's an actor, an artist. So it's like you never have to deal with that, "Oh, you're an artist. That's weird. I used to know an artist," or it's not a strange thing. So now suddenly you're in a situation where everybody's an artist. So you get to basically shop talk with everybody. And so it's very exciting to be around a lot of other artists. And, one, for the camaraderie, and the quote shop talk, and being able to take each other seriously. And also for the competition. If I went out and I was a marathon runner and I ran against myself, I probably wouldn't, run that fast. But I mean, you give me a bunch of guys and I'm looking at their butts like flying ahead of me, I'm going to start having to run faster. And it's that way with the art world. It's like there's so much competition that, man, you better be good. You better be real good. And you're, constantly fighting against yourself to become better. And you're also, have all these other elements that aren't sitting around smoking pot talking about all the things they're going to do. They're out doing them, and you're out doing them well. So this is something that you have to deal with. If you want to play with these boys, you got to be good. And that's something that's very exciting for me. And also here, a lot of people are very politically aware, which is very nice to me. They're not like, well, let's get a six-pack of beer and some chips and go home and watch the tube and veg. It's they're very politically active and involved. So you can also discuss lots of issues and the possibilities of actually making social change with your art.